Nebius have just announced one of the most consequential pieces of news in the company's history, and that is signing a $27 billion AI infrastructure with none other than Meta. In today's video, we're going to go into this in more detail and talk about what it means for the company and, crucially, what it means for Nebius stock. But before we get into that, if you are new here, my name's Howard. I recently started this YouTube channel to share my investing research and actions, such as with Nebius, which I've been aggressively buying over the past 6 months. And if you're not new here, thank you for joining me again in another video. So let's get right into the topic of today's video. That is, of course, this deal. This is fresh off the press, released this Monday morning. Nebius signs an AI infrastructure agreement with Meta, deal to accelerate growth of Nebius's core business in AI cloud. So we've got this huge deal that has come out. We have a lot of different news sources talking about it, some very large news sources. And essentially, well, we'll go in to say what they have announced here. Nebius, the AI cloud company, today announced a new long-term AI infrastructure supply agreement with Meta, strengthening collaboration between the two companies. Under the 5-year agreement, Nebius will provide $12 billion of dedicated capacity across multiple locations based on one of the first large-scale deployments of NVIDIA Vera Rubin platform. Nebius will deliver this capacity starting in early 2027. So this is the first bit of the announcement, and this bit is $12 billion over 5 years. And this is essentially, from what I can understand, the guaranteed what Meta have actually purchased from Nebius, and they are crucially wanting the NVIDIA Vera Rubin platform. Now, this is a very important point because we know already that Nebius was going to be one of the first people to, one of the first companies to be able to give capacity on the Vera Rubin platform. And also, NVIDIA invested $2 billion into Nebius, which was announced not even a week ago. And we're already seeing how useful that kind of investment and partnership is. Meta really want this Vera Rubin platform, and Nebius is able to give it to them. Another thing from this first paragraph is Nebius will deliver this capacity starting in early 2027. We know just from the last earnings report that Nebius has huge ambitions and huge growth targets for this year. They're looking at between 7 to 9 billion ARR by the end of the year. When we're looking at this capacity is starting early 2027, that implies that this deal here is not even contributing to their targets for this year. So one way you could look at it is we're not going to be, or our target or hitting our targets is not going to be helped by this deal. But I actually see that as a positive. Nebius is saying we've already got this huge deal and even more demand queued up for 2027. And we'll get to the bottom of this, and they're still aiming for the same targets in 2026, which is a fantastic piece of news. Now, let's get into the second part of this. Furthermore, in connection with access to these NVIDIA Vera Rubin deployments, Meta has committed to purchase an additional available compute capacity across certain upcoming Nebius clusters, up to a total of $15 billion over a 5-year period. Nebius currently intends to sell this capacity to third-party customers of its AI cloud business, with remaining capacity to be purchased by Meta. So this is essentially Meta agreeing to purchase even more. From what I can understand, it seems like they're agreeing to purchase even more if and when it's available, again, on this specific Vera Rubin infrastructure deployment. So this seems kind of like a win-win for me in terms of Nebius. We say here, Nebius intends to sell this capacity to third-party customers of its AI cloud business. We know this is the area they want to grow the most because they're getting higher margins from providing that service. And it's basically saying Nebius is going to be able to sell as much of that as possible in their AI cloud business, and Meta is going to take up all of the remaining capacity that they have. So as much capacity as they can get online with Vera Rubin, they are going to be able to sell over the next 5 years, because Meta is basically saying we've got $15 billion here and we're guaranteeing to spend that on you depending on how much capacity you can give us, which is a fantastic piece of news, I think. And again, at the bottom here, to sum it up, the agreement has a contract value of up to approximately $27 billion. And again, a quote from Arkady here: "We are pleased to expand our significant partnership with Meta as part of securing more large, long-term capacity contracts to accelerate the build-out and growth of our core AI business. We will continue to deliver." So just in the most recent earnings report we had, Arkady made a lot of focus about the core product is the core AI cloud business. That is what they want to grow, and that is where they're adding all of their software on top for people to run their training and run their infrastructure. And that's where they kind of get most of the money, and they are using these big hyperscaler contracts to fund the build out. Of course, they make a good bit of money on there as well, but they've got in this huge deals which helps them build out their infrastructure, which they can then continue to monetize after that. And crucially, at the bottom here, Nebius's guidance remains unchanged for 2026. So another good piece of news here. This is going to start coming online in 2027. It's not like they were planning on this starting, they weren't relying on this Meta deal to come in to hit 2026 targets. This is likely coming in just in 2027 and beyond. And this year, they're still going for the same targets as of now. So we have had a good reinforcement of that as well. Something else that I think is good to hear about this deal is that it is with an existing customer. So if we go back to the Q4 report, we had a couple of pieces of news in their shareholder letter. Number one, we delivered the first tranche of capacity for Microsoft, one of their huge hyperscalers they wanted to start delivering on, and they did that last year. Number two, we delivered both contracted tranches to Meta on time and now fully in the servicing stage. So when this report was released a few weeks ago, they delivered the 2 tranches to Meta on time and now fully in servicing stage. Meta already has experience with working with Nebius. They didn't sign this first deal that long ago. They've had their 2 tranches, 2 contracted tranches, put up and are running, and they're already being serviced by Nebius. And Meta are obviously very happy with that. This first deal with Meta was a few billion, which of course is a great deal. This next deal is a huge amount larger than that, $27 billion. Meta would not be signing up for that if they were not happy with the service they were getting from Nebius. And this to me really does solidify just how important Nebius is, and kind of it solidifies what chances it has to reach its goals of basically being a large hyperscaler style AI infrastructure cloud. They are going to compete with the big boys. That's what they are trying to do. And if they are getting these hyperscalers to sign on like this and sign bigger deals, they are clearly doing something right, and they are building up to scale. With the Microsoft deal, the first Meta deal, and this new Meta deal, that is nearly $50 billion, or maybe there and thereabouts $50 billion they are now contracted to do, which is a huge amount of money, and it is hopefully just going to continue to grow as they carry on building out capacity and managing to deliver on that capacity. And as I mentioned, this is not a small piece of news. Just looking around this morning, this is getting picked up by the very, very, very big news outlets. For example, we've got Reuters on there, but we've also got CNBC. Meta signs a deal worth up to $27 billion with Nebius for AI infrastructure. This is a big contract. It's involving Meta, who we know have hugely ambitious spending plans for this year. And it really is getting Nebius in front of the wider financial market. And that does make me think maybe this could be a further turning point for Nebius and the stock, of people realizing this is just not a small player. These really are kind of growing fast and signing these kind of big deals. And they just kind of summarized here what we've just gone through. And again, Meta said it's planning capital expenditure of up to $135 billion related to AI this year. I am also a holder of Meta shares, so it's good to see that although the stock of Meta has been hit because they're spending so much, a bit of that is coming back in form of my Nebius shares, which is a much larger position. So talking about the shares and talking about the stock, let's move this onto actually looking into the stock price. So if we look at the pre-market, we're up 13% in the pre-market. No surprise there, but that is after, in the last 5 days, already up just under 30% because we did have a good week last week. And then we, of course, had that huge announcement that NVIDIA had invested $2 billion. Nebius just seems to be going from strength to strength recently. If we look at the past month, it's really been bouncing around the $100, going all the way down into the 80s, but it has been getting quite a base there. And now it does look like we've just broken out with these 2 pieces of huge news. And if we look year to date, 25%, and that's taken into account this pre-market action, not taking into account this pre-market action we've got here. So as a Nebius shareholder, as I mentioned before, this is one of the stocks I've been more aggressively buying over the past 6 months. Started buying in around the $40, $50 mark, and I've been averaging up since then when I've been seeing the dips. And I'm very happy to see this. One of my thesis, or one of the main reasons I'm investing in Nebius, is because I believe AI infrastructure is still in its early days. I believe inference and stuff like AI agents are so powerful already. This is something that's only going to be used more and more in the future. And crucially, I think Nebius is the one to do that. I don't think just anyone can spool up some NVIDIA chips and just start doing this as a service. I think you need to be one of the very best to make it work and to make it scale. And Nebius, to me, look like they've got the team and the experience to do that. And getting more deals like this and executing on these deals, already getting the Microsoft and previous Meta tranches up and running, is why I'm invested in them. So very happy. It's a very happy day to be a Nebius shareholder. We've got some great news that has just come out. We've also got NVIDIA GTC, which is basically the biggest AI conference of the year. Nebius is one of the core sponsors there. We know they're doing a lot of talks. They're going to be releasing a lot of stuff or talking through a lot of their products. So we might even get some more exciting news this week from Nebius as well, because the NVIDIA GTC conference is just starting today. So I will, of course, be keeping you updated on that. But I think we'll probably get a bit more clarity on this deal, their recent investment with NVIDIA, and a bit more clarity on this deal with Meta and how they plan to work together. So I hope you found this video useful. It's some fantastic piece of news. If you are a Nebius shareholder, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would really like to know. And apart from that, I will see you again in the very next video.